Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of our Knowledge of RWBY podcast. I'm your host, Goldstar, and today I am joined by my other host, Knight. We did try this recording a week before with just episode 5, The Coming Storm. However, due to some technical difficulties and the fact that our recording is now gone, we decided to combine both episodes 5 and 6 into the fourth episode of our podcast, kind of similarly to what we did for our first episode. And would you care to give a summary of the fifth episode before we dig deeper into it, Knight?
Certainly. So we begin the fifth episode of RWBY Volume 6 with Cinder talking to the Spider People. And the Spider People tell Cinder where Team RWBY is headed, that they're headed to Atlas and more importantly, Argus. The Spider Lady also mentions to Cinder that she basically told someone where Cinder is, and that someone just happened to be Neo. Neo returns in this episode after being gone for
Three volumes.
yeah,
Oh,
two volumes,
yeah,
for
two,
three
three. Yeah.
volumes, and she returns to basically try and kill Cinder because she blames Cinder for Roman's death. And they have a fight scene. Fight scene was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And at the end of the fight, basically Cinder says, "Hey Neo, how about you work with me to kill Ruby?" And Neo basically says, "Yeah." And that's that. So they're working together. Next, we have Team RWBY exploring basically the house that they found in the last episode, the kind of like settlement that they found. And they'll go to the house, and they find the house is just abandoned. It's not like there's any grim marks or just anything that's destroyed. It's just abandoned. They explore the house, and they find that everyone in the house is dead in their beds. So they explore, and they split up into basically like three teams. Yang and Blake go to the barn. Weiss and Ruby explore some of the house, and Crow, Maria, and Oscar just explore some other part of the house, or go to read a book. I think like that's what Maria does.
Yeah.
And Yang and Blake they go to the barn and they find a trailer. Also, while they're talking while they find a trailer, and Yang reveals to Blake that she gets panic attacks from the follow beacon,
More
and
particularly,
Blake,
yeah.
yeah, and Blake just basically tries to calm her down, but but Yang got mad when Blake said that she would protect her, and that's the end of that scene. Then it transitions to Ruby and White searching basically a wine cellar. Ruby makes the comment that she doesn't want Crow to find out about this because she's worried that he would just drink everything in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to the wine cellar. They find basically some beans in a can, just canned food. But they also find this storage cellar in the wine cellar that's blocked. And at the end of that episode, there's basically just starting to open and then close, so indicating there's something down there. Anything I missed out, Goldstar?
No, that was perfect. You summarized the episode perfectly. The first topic that we'll be going over happens at the beginning whenever Neo actually makes a return. And, the whole scene with Neo and Cinder happens, the fight, and then the agreement to work together. Um, the question that I was wondering, in particular, when Neo returned, was where was she for like the past two volumes? Like, what was she doing?
I'm thinking that she just was out surviving, just training to like fight Ruby, fight Cinder, whoever she
Yeah,
was blaming for Roman's death, or
yeah,
finding out maybe she didn't actually think Roman was dead and just trying to find Roman.
yeah. Either which way, I think like all your points summarize to the point that she was getting over Roman's death in some way, either surviving by herself, training by herself, or like finding out that he's actually dead. Um, what I think in particular is that she was trying to track down Ruby and Cinder in particular, and the fact that it took her so long for Cinder, I think, was because Cinder was in sort of like a dark dimension where Salem is, and as of now, we don't know any way that they transport from the dark dimension back to like the regular world where Ruby takes place. So that's possibly why Neo took so long to track Cinder, and why it took her to go to the Spider People to find her. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, if she was also looking for like Team Ruby,
Yeah.
uh, first they were all scattered on like they're in like at Volume 4. They're in Patch, on their way to Haven, Menagerie, and Atlas. Then Volume 5, they're all headed basically to Haven, and then now they're going to Atlas. So it's kind of like, okay, who do I go after? Well, where are they? It's hard to find them.
Yeah. Yeah, and finally in Volume 6, we get to see sort of that storyline and Neo come together, and I'm super excited to see what Neo and Cinder can do against Ruby and how the dynamic can kind of work together, especially since Roman used to work for Cinder, and so I think Roman must have told Neo a little bit about Cinder.
Well,
So,
like I think like they fought like in the Vital tournament. Like she was their fourth member with like
yeah,
Cinder, Mercury, and Emerald. So I think she know
yeah.
what Cinder does, except that now she's a maiden.
And now that she has, in particular, was it like a Spring Maiden's powers or was it a
No,
Fall Maiden?
she just has the Fall Maidens.
Fall Maiden. Okay, I was kind of confused on which one she
Yeah,
took.
she has the Fall Maiden. Raven has a Spring.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure it clicks in my head.
Okay.
Um. All right. Also, something else I was wondering is why did she? Well, I mean, I guess we already kind of answered this, but why did she blame Cinder for Roman's death?
Could be
Uh.
because of just the Grim. Cinder brought the Grim in. The
Yeah.
Grim killed Roman. Just that, probably.
Yeah. But I guess to kind of probe you further, um, in that fight scene in particular, it was Roman, Ruby, and Neo.
Yeah.
As we know, Neo got knocked off by Ruby by using her umbrella and, opening up to propel her away. I always kind of thought as this as a way for Neo to just blame Ruby specifically because she was the last one there with Roman
Hmm.
and she could have, like, made him go into the Grim or something. That's how I always thought of it as. I never really
Yeah.
thought of it in perspective, like you said, that Cinder blocked Grim, Grim killed Roman, Cinder killed Roman.
Yeah.
Because I always thought that was really weird perspective for some reason. Because I always thought she blamed the person that was there, not like Grim itself. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. I want to move on to basically Team Ruby's interactions and searches through the house, the settlement.
Yeah,
And so yeah, the house when they find the death, it was just great. Otherwise, the reaction it's just fear because usually they're used to just killing Grim, not just seeing like dead people.
yeah. And when you kill Grim, their dead bodies don't stay; they disintegrate, they disappear.
Yeah.
Um, which is what makes them harder to study, and which is what you have to have live Grim in order to study it. You can't just kill them because they won't be there anymore. So
Yeah.
whenever Team Ruby or anyone else, whenever they were at Beacon, whenever they killed Grim, they didn't get to see the aftermath of that Grim. They sort of just disappeared. So seeing all those dead people, it's new to them, I guess.
Yeah. It's unnerving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so they split up, and Yang and Blake go to the barn as I said before, and they basically uh talk. Yang finds the trailer and then looks out a window and sees Adam and just gets started from it. Blake basically asks, what's wrong?" It's like I get panic attacks uh from Beacon or the fall of Beacon, and Blake just tries to comfort her, saying like, even though Adam's out there, we'll take him together. But
Hmm.
then Blake basically did the wrong thing when Blake said that she would basically protect Yang. Now I think and Yang reacted basically negatively and just left the barn and head back into the house.
Yeah.
I think the reason is that Yang is thinking that Blake sees her as not as strong as she was, that she could she could have died, that she could get beaten again by
Hmm.
Adam, that she's not as strong as she was. I'm thinking that's the reason why Yang got really mad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my reason kind of adds on to your reason, um, and I'm using kind of evidence from Volume 2, I think, whenever Yang and Blake first kind of started interacting with each other. And that was kind of the story that Yang told about, like, her childhood with Ruby and how both of their mothers weren't there. And because that Yang had to pretty much rise herself to the alpha female position and take care of Ruby and protect her. She pretty much didn't have that same kind of childhood that normal children would have. And because of that, I think this has developed a mindset in her that she can protect people, that she can, protect others because that's what she's been doing her whole life. And
Mm-hmm.
when Blake said that she would be protected by her, that kind of conflicted with what she was raised for, what environment she was raised in. And she thinks, like you said, that she's strong enough to take on Adam, that she doesn't need Blake's quote unquote protection, that because she's already protecting other
Yeah,
people.
I think she thinks he's not going to be able to beat him by himself, but she's not going to beat Adam by herself. But she doesn't need protection against Adam.
Yeah. She
She
needs
needs like
someone to work together with, which is why I think she was happy whenever Blake said would take them out together, and then
yeah,
kind of
and
switch
then
whenever.
immediately went like, yeah, no, I'm just no.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Anything else you want to add, or should we move on
I
to?
think move on to the next part.
All right, which is the interaction with Ruby and Rice. Pretty much, they
Yeah,
go around the house looking for food. Like you said, they found canned beans, but while that was happening, there were two main things that popped up. The first one is Rice's kind of fear of Atlas and fear of going back to Atlas. Um, the reason why I think this is pretty simple in my opinion. However, it could be different. I think it's because back in Volume 4, right? Is that when she was
yeah,
in Atlas? Yeah.
yeah,
Volume 4, she pretty much got reunited with what she was in the past as a child after being in Beacon for the past 3 volumes. And pretty much because of that, she didn't want to go back there. And to only go to Haven and then find out she has to go back to Atlas, that makes her scared to kind of confront what she was in the past because she wants to move on from that.
yeah. I kind of agree with you on that. Basically, that yeah, she basically just doesn't want to go. Like her father's there, brother's there, everyone is there. It's Atlas. She doesn't want to go back there. She wants to just move on from there.
Yeah. Um, And then the second thing that happened was they found like a little storage container in the wine cellar, like you mentioned earlier. And in that wine cellar, open and close, revealing that there was something in there.
Yeah,
Um, we were supposed to discuss in last recording what was in there.
yeah, because
However,
we didn't know.
yeah,
But now, since watching the sixth episode, we now know.
well, kind of moving on. Would you care to summarize what happened in the sixth episode, and we
All
can
right,
get into what was
you
in
think
the?
we talked about everything in the fifth?
Yes, I think that
Yeah.
was.
All right. So now sixth episode. Here we go. We basically begin where the last episode left off. Everyone is basically just by the fireplace, and then Crow says everyone should go to bed. They go to bed. They fall asleep, and while they're falling asleep, Crow just drinks. He drinks, I think, like 3 bottles. I saw.
Yeah.
And then when they're all just sleeping, there's a plan was originally to, like, I think, to sleep and when like at first sunrise leave. They just, I think, sleep until just like early morning, something like that.
Yeah, because Crow
And
mentioned that the storm was clearing up and that they needed to leave like right in the morning by sunrise.
and
However,
that Crow and that Crow would wake them, but Crow just drank.
yeah,
So
Crow was passed out. So
yeah, and then Ruby wakes up because Crow basically just drops a bottle when he's just drunk. Wakes
mhm.
up and basically just smashes a bottle to wake up Crow, and also mentions to Crow that Crow can talk to Ruby and Yang about stuff and not just drink.
Mhm.
Uh, then they go outside and basically prepare to hitch, I think it's called, to Bumblebee
Yeah.
to connect the trailer. And then Crow, because of his bad luck semblance, literally touches the tire, touches the trailer thing, and the tire just pops. And then you get this weird thing. Basically, everyone's saying, why are we going to Atlas? There's really no point. Like, the relics are hidden in schools, behind armies, and they may get there, but it's harder to find the relic of knowledge because it'll just be in the woods. Why not just leave it here? Just throw it down this well that's conveniently right next to Ruby. Just throw it down the well. And they're like, I'm tired. Just throw it down the well. And Ruby's about to, and she sees down the well that there's red eyes that basically just scare her and cause her to drop it.
Mhm.
And then, sorry, and then uh, after she drops it, everyone says, "Okay, let's just leave." But Ruby's like, no, we have to get the relic back."
Yeah, because she didn't want to drop it down in the well,
Yeah,
and
she didn't want to drop it. She just,
yeah,
oops, I guess she got scared and just accidentally dropped it.
yeah, she got scared by the thing inside the well.
Yeah, and then Crow like tells Oscar to basically find a pump to fill the tire back up, and then Team Ruby goes down into the well to find it, and Crow goes for a drink, and then Maria is basically has been reading throughout the episode throughout the this episode and this, so basically like they're the journals of the people who have lived there.
Well, I mean, was she also reading in episode 5, or was she reading?
She's like started it. She I think she started like at like the first one
Okay.
and got on I think to like the sixth volume. I think it was like V1, which is six.
Yeah, V1, and when she threw it out, the vehicle, which happens later on in the episode, it was 8.
Okay,
So,
well, that's getting at the end of it.
yeah,
Anyway, let's
I
get
know.
back to,
Yeah.
let's get back to summary, where Team Ruby goes down the well and they find the relic. Ruby goes finds the relic, and then we see what I think are one of the most actually terrifying Grimm I've seen in a long while, which are the Apathy. They are basically kind of like zombie Grimm. They actually kind of looks like they kind of look like the nuclear wave. I forgot how you pronounce it, but the horse Grimm, the horse
Yeah.
Minotaur Grimm that I like to call it.
Back in volume 4, whenever.
Yeah, but without the horse and just very slow
Yeah.
and just super creepy. And they just start running from it. And these Grimm have basically the power to slow you down, basically just take your will to keep fighting. And they run all the way to basically to the entrance of basically through the cellar entrance, but the door is locked. So they're trying to break the lock, and the Grimm are cornering them, and they're taking their wills. They all just keep falling down. And they're closing in basically on Blake, and Ruby has a brief instance of using her Silver Eyes power to basically just knock them all back. And Maria sees this, and she goes up to Ruby and asks, "What color are your eyes?" And Ruby says silver. And Maria says, "Don't focus on the Grimm. Focus on the people you love. On those people, because life is precious and life needs to be protected." And basically tells Ruby to focus. And then Ruby uses her Silver Eyes power to destroy all the Grimm. And then they get up into the cellar, and then they just see Crow drinking. They get Crow. Weiss throws some bottles at the Grimm, lights them on fire, and then they escape the house. And then while they're leaving, they're on the trailer. Yang is driving them. Maria reveals that she once had silver eyes, and that's why she knows the knowledge of the silver eyes. Pretty good summary, Goldstar?
Yes, that was a pretty good summary. The first thing that I felt like was struck out most and like the most important thing was the apathy, and
Yeah.
this was because the fact that they're not strong enemies physically or they don't pose a threat physically. However, they're more mental. They're more like losing all your will, like you mentioned earlier, and kind of while we saw in that scene, it wasn't really a fight scene. It was just everyone maintaining their will and trying to have that will in order to get out of there. I thought it was very interesting. It kind of opens up a new perspective to you don't just have to be strong physically. You also have to have a nice mental set of mind.
Yeah. Like the only Grimm I could think of that was similar to this was the nuclear weave, where basically its scream just like pushed people back. Basically, just like was kind of like a flashbang, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
But this is literally like takes your will
Yeah.
to live, and then it kills you, because while you can't do anything, it's like I'm on the ground. Oh no, I can't. I'm sleeping.
Yeah,
And
we
then just
saw
kills you.
we saw this with Blake too. Before we rescued her, she was just on the ground. We was like, come on, let's go." And she's like, "No, I'm fine." And we saw the apathy, or did I pronounce that wrong?
Apathy.
Yeah, apathy. It scanned the claws to her, and then, like you said, the Silver Eyes power came, and then, Blake kind of regained her will for a solid 5 seconds before it was lost.
Until they attacked again.
Yeah.
You made the joke that if they were in either Grim Eclipse or Amity Arena, that they would just lag the game.
Yeah, they'll lag the game.
Yeah. Oh, you see them? Lag, instant lag.
Crashes the game. The game loses the will to run.
Anyway, so the Apathy actually gave me some ideas. So Salem didn't create the Grim. The evil brother, the dark brother did.
Mhm.
So I know we usually in the flashback. We in the flashbacks, when we saw Osmond's past and Salem's past, I think we just saw Beowulfs.
Yeah.
That's really it. We just saw Beowulfs.
Mhm.
These Grim. That's kind of weird that he would create like these Grims. I wonder if Salem now can create Grims
I mean, it's actually
because
very.
there's so many
Yeah.
different types. So like Beowulfs, Alpha Beowulfs, the Nevermores,
Mm.
the Ursas, and then there's the nuclear waves, the flying ones from the train scene, and six the king snake ones. I can't remember all the names on the top of my
Yeah,
head.
but the point is there are a lot of Grim,
There are a
and
lot, yeah.
yeah, the way that I theorize it is that the Dark Brother was the original creator, and that he only created like a couple type of Grim, like a Beowulfs, maybe the Alpha Beowulfs, even though they were not in the flashbacks. However, I think while Salem was down there, for like the amount of time that she was down there, she sort of came across this technology because, as we saw in Volume 4 at the beginning, there's like this little fluid. I'm not sure how to describe it,
It's like a
but
pool. We showed it. This was in like Dark Prism. It's like a pool of just the grim, not
yeah.
blood, but
But something that kind of forms up the Grim. I
yeah,
just can't think
yeah,
of
it's a
what it
pool
is.
of grim. Let's just call it pool of grim.
Yeah. And because I think a Pool of Grim was down there with Salem, she sort of like experimented with it and kind of made different types of Grim, like the one we've seen, throughout the volumes. Because she had to do something while she was down there besides from just
Yeah,
scanning there and gaining men. I think
I
she,
feel like if there are just two types of grim, humanity could be just well prepared for like just if there's two types, but there's so many types.
yeah. Yeah, I think like it was the Dark Brothers' original creation, and then whenever he left, Salem kind of took it as her own and kind
And
of
learn to control and then create.
yeah, because remember, did she give Salem her? I mean, not no. Did she give Cinder her Grim armor? What did the Grim?
Yeah, basically she gave her like a grim art to steal the powers of the maiden.
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of does indicate that she does have some Grim technology under her.
Yeah, grim technology. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know what else to call it,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, pretty much that. The apathy just really cool. Really, I never seen like every grim. I think is like based on like animal or something like in maybe mythology. We never really seen like a fully like kind of human looking
yeah,
grim,
humanized Grim, except for like a horse thing, but.
the horse thing. But
Even
yeah,
then, that wasn't really humanized. um, that was now it sort of came. I don't know what mythology this is, but I'm pretty sure there is one with like a human body. I mean, a human head, and like a horse's kind of body and legs.
I think that's a minute. Maybe it's Minotaur's like centaur or something. I don't remember which one.
I
I think it's centaur.
don't remember, but I know it does come from some sort of mythology.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to Ruby
All right.
and are there. So the next thing is Maria was a silver eye warrior. She had silver eyes, and I think I forgot who, either myself, Goldstar, or Joe. We definitely predicted this in one of the episodes we did before. We definitely one of us has definitely said this.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna limit it myself because I believed I mentioned in the deleted recording that there was some theory surrounding it, but there wasn't any proof.
Yeah, we
Um,
may mention her name not, or it was just in the fifth episode that we've
yeah,
lost the recording of.
yeah.
But yeah, Maria has silver eyes, and I think that was apparent to a lot of people because of in the intro, you see Maria's eye, and then that fades into basically Ruby's eye.
Kind of a
Ba-
big
picture-
sign there. Yeah. Now
Yeah,
looking back
basically
at it.
that Maria knows knowledge of silver eyes, and she lost her eyes. I'm guessing maybe Grimm or Salem took her eyes.
Yeah. Was something. I mean, maybe it could open up a possibility of if you use your silver eyes powers, like if it gets too powerful, then maybe your eyes are blinded.
Oh,
Maybe.
oh, that you just
Yeah.
you lose your sight.
Yeah, because there's a light that emits from it, and maybe if that light is too bright, and you're obviously looking at it because you're using your power, then you could go blind from it. I
I
mean,
like that. I like that Ruby's finally gonna ask questions about the Silver Eye Warriors, the
yeah.
Silver Eyes, because he hasn't done that in Volume 4 or 5.
It was just a thing that happened, and then sort of
Just,
just
just don't question it. Just don't question it. But now question it because you have someone who actually has Silver Eyes and can probably train her.
yeah. I mean, what I found was most interesting from that scene was the way that the Silver Eye powers are activated in the terms of think about protecting life, think about protecting the ones you love, and not the fear of the ones you hate.
Yeah, because like in Volume 3, it's the reaction to basically seeing
Yeah.
Pyrrha die, that triggers Ruby's first Silver Eyes. And then in Volume 5, when seeing, maybe it was actually Weiss, it was seeing someone almost, I forgot who. I think
Um,
no, it's Jean. It was Jean, almost being killed by Cinder or his Weiss. I don't remember which one.
it was
But
Weiss.
that basically,
John was the one who healed her.
oh yeah, it was Weiss. And then Ruby's gonna go Silver Eyes, but then Emerald knocked her out.
Yeah.
And then this time.
Whenever I'm not sure what Ruby thought in that instance. Maybe it was just everyone all at
I think it was
once.
just a fear of just someone dying again.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I don't think it was I don't think it's fear that activates her power, rather the will to protect others.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the fact that because Ruby is very optimistic, which is kind of noting that off her character so far.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe it was just the fact that she felt like she needed to do something to get everyone out of here, and Maria's
Yeah.
words kind of inspired her to think that way, and then because of that, her power is activated. I mean, the question is it that every time you think in the optimistic way, your powers activate, or is there some
I
sort
don't think it's the optimistic. I think it's just protect. Basically, just protect the people you care about.
of protection? I mean, because that would be very weird just looking at this in a regular scenario. Like, you think about, oh, I'm going to protect this guy, and all of a sudden there's a flash of light.
Uh,
That's what I'm wondering. What way, do you have to think about using it and the fact that you have to protect someone with it? Or is it just protection in general?
who knows? I think we'll probably get an answer next episode.
Yeah.
Probably, unless it's like a Salem focused episode.
Well, I mean, I don't think next episode. I think the answer will be coming later down the line, either at the end of this
Yeah.
volume or in the next volume.
Yep.
I think if we do get an answer from next episode, it'll be some expedition, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Explanation.
yeah, explanation from Maria about like how the
Yeah.
powers work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe it'll be like a how Crow described the relics in like a world of remnant kind of way,
yeah,
where like kind of like that, which I really like that.
yeah, that
I,
was
re- I love the world of remnants. They're like kind of thing, and it's kind of cool how they mix with the animation.
yeah, that was a good series. Whenever is this still going on or was
I
that?
don't know. I really think it should. It should expand on when they have something.
Yeah,
But
like
they
the
can't.
Silver Eyes. That would be a perfect instance to use.
Yeah, if this is like the maidens, like they talked about it, the fairy tale, but then they expanded on it with the world of remnant for people who didn't fully understand it, and I
Yeah.
really like that. I really like that they have that.
Hmm. And I really
Alright,
liked how the World of Revenant kind of just getting into that before we talk about our last topic.
Yeah,
I really liked how it explained and kind of helped us reach the past to now.
yep,
And I felt like with the topics introduced in this volume, the World of Remnant could be very useful in order to explain how they got, like, the Silver Eyes Warriors, how that turned out, or, like, the
yeah,
Grimm, maybe. They could answer some questions about the Grimm and how did the Grimm kind of get more types of Grimm. Like, kind of what we were
yeah. I see what you.
theorizing
I see,
earlier.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is probably the last thing that I took away from the this 2 episodes is Crow. We've seen him drink a lot, but he's basically a functional alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that at the end when he sees, he was just in the bar when everyone was running into tunnels under the well. He was just drinking. Then he sees, oh, what's going on? You're dragging me out of here. And he sees the Grim on fire. I think he's gonna think like maybe I drink too much, or maybe I should focus on protecting them.
Yeah.
Then it's like he's gonna realize I just should, because he was drinking a lot.
I mean, the thing is with drinking is that whenever you drink, it turns into addiction, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, I
I,
think Crow has that where he's a functional alcoholic, where he's got to
yeah,
the point where he needs alcohol to function.
yeah. that's kind of how the addiction part kind of took change. Without it, he can't function. Um,
Yeah. Or that
how
it was like or it could be like with it he just can function better actually. But it seems to me that he just had so much that he just was just
yeah,
drunk off everything and just didn't care.
yeah, because when you have a bad luck semblance, it kind of
Yeah, I
kind
think
of
maybe
mess
just be
up.
worse with alcohol and bad luck.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
a good combo. All right, so I
Yeah.
think that was basically it for episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Now,
Wait.
from what I took away from go ahead.
Before you kind of wrap up, it's just
Oh, no,
one.
I'm not gonna wrap up
Well,
yet. I
yeah,
just wanted
but
to say
before you kind of get to your next point, do you think in this episode in particular was it the apathy that was making him drink so much, or was it himself?
oh yeah, actually that's a good question. I think it was so I definitely could tell that and that it was basically the app they were trying. It was like subtle, I think subtle hints that app they were trying to take over like Team Ruby,
Yeah.
but it kind of felt like that Crow was just Crow. It didn't really feel like it was being he was being taken over, took over.
Yeah, just kind of influence. You can
Yeah,
say that.
influenced by the apathy. That he just was just depressed. That Osmond lied to him. Everything that was going
Yeah,
on,
everything
basically.
that happened in the volume. Yeah, I get that. My answer, I think it's a little bit of the fact that everything has happened, and the fact that the apathy kind of made that more dramatic, I guess, in a sense. Because the way I look at it, that scene in the intro when he's drinking and he's being dragged down by those hands, either that will be revealed to be something else. But as for now, what I'm gonna say, maybe that's the apathy kind of forcing him into the alcohol because of everything that's happened, and the fact that there's this negative will surrounding the house, like you said with Team Ruby. Maybe that had some sort of effect on him as well. However, I do agree that it has something to do with what he experienced throughout the volume.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. And I just felt so
Yeah, go ahead with
overall.
yours.
Okay, overall, these 2 episodes have felt like to me like a mid-season finale. And I don't think Ruby really ever has like Ruby's supposed to be told episodically. I
Yeah.
think not like oh watch it all at once like a movie.
Mhm.
And this felt like a mid-series finale, and I never really got that from any other volume. And I really like that. I also noticed that basically almost every not maybe shot's the word to use. That every shot that was basically in the intro, we technically sort of have seen
Yeah.
in the last
Yeah.
6 episodes.
Except for the one with John kind of pushing against Oscar or Osmond, who knows at this point.
Yeah,
Uh,
Osprey just basically punching him.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, I do agree that most of the scenes that we have seen in the intro kind of are reflected within the intro. And
Yeah. So overall, I really enjoyed these last 2 episodes. And for predictions of what's going to happen next, we said that in our last recording attempt that Salem may be in this episode. In episode 6, she wasn't. So I think Salem's definitely going to be Salem and her group are definitely going to be in the next episode.
yeah,
Some more insight into the Silver Eyes probably in the next episode, and then maybe Cinder and Neo, and maybe finally Adam. Actually, like Adam seeing how he's going to track down Team Ruby, and not just a panic attack version of Adam.
yeah,
Actually,
the
Adam.
real version of Adam. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, last episode in the lead recording, it must feel weird that we're referencing this recording even though it's not here. Um,
Yeah.
I kind of predicted that this episode and sort of like the halfway point of like this volume will focus on setting up the B plot because,
B plot.
well, not the B plot, but setting up, summing up the like kind of building up towards the plot that will happen at the season finale.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, the way I predicted it was that Salem was going to come in, kind of build up to where they were going to go. Either go to Atlas or specifically August, or whether they're going to go somewhere else. I forgot what that place was. You mentioned it.
Vacuo.
Yeah, Vacuo. I thought that was going to happen. I mean, it still could happen next episode because, like, I think you said the volumes are usually around 14, 13 episodes.
Yeah.
correct about that? So
Yeah, something like that. 14. I think like volume one was was a 16 episodes. Then
yeah,
volumes two and three were like 12. I think volume four was also 12. Then volume five was like 14.
yeah. I feel like this one might be 12 just for the fact that this is feels like a mid-season finale, like kind of highlighting that this is the halfway
Mhm.
point. Only 6 more to go. But I could be completely wrong about that. Uh, However, the way that I predict next episode is definitely Salem's gonna make an appearance. I do want something out of Neo, Cinder, and Adam. However, I think it's least likely to happen for the focus on Team Ruby and kind of their plot points. I feel like there's a lot going on there that
Yeah.
they need addressed in next episode. And I feel like, in particular, Neo and Cinder will have the most likely chance of appearing, mainly because the tie-ins they have with Team Ruby. Just mainly Ruby in particular. However, I don't think Adam's gonna make an appearance until probably episode 8 or 9. I don't think he's gonna make an appearance next episode.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
also feel like it's gonna be trying to kind of like a the relationship between Yang and Blake trying to like repair their like friendship.
yeah,
It's also kind of interesting that they're both having panic attacks of Adam. Like
mm,
Blake saw on the train of Adam, and then Yang is having, as we know, of the in the hat in the barn.
yeah, and
So
also
and how
in
they
yeah, and also in the intro we can see, this was also said in our last recording, but we can see Yang and Blake sitting next to each other on the chain, and when Yang looks out the window, we see sort of that panic attack Adam.
yeah, just Adams in the on the glass.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I agree with all your predictions. I feel like that's gonna happen. There's nothing really else to go on besides they're headed. I just want to think. Do you think they're gonna do like get the Atlas at the end of volume, or it's gonna be starting the fall of not fall of Atlas or just the battle of Atlas or something?
hmm. I feel like at this point, unless they do like another instance which they did this volume where they crash somewhere and then they have to stay there for like an episode and then go to Atlas, I feel like it's most likely that it will focus on kind of the fall Atlas in that battle. However, it is possible that they just get to the Atlas at the end of volume and then volume 6 will focus on their interactions in Atlas and building up to the fall of Atlas. I mean, that would be a lot more interesting because then we can kind of develop Weiss's fear of Atlas and kind of get a bit more into that and how she confronts it with not only herself but also with Team Ruby by her side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I'm more excited for just arriving at Atlas at the end of volume. However, I would not be disappointed with a battle.
Yeah, I really want to see some sort of battle between anyone, between like Salem, between like Salem's cronies, between Adam, or between Neo and Cinder.
Yeah, I mean there has to be a big battle, of course. I
Even include some Grim because we never really have any season finales, except for like season five. I'm saying volume five, it was just no Grim, just people.
yeah, just
Volume four was just Grim, basically. Volume three, mix of it. It was basically winning and losing.
yeah.
But we
Volume
never
3
had
was
like
grim and people.
yeah, volume three is Grim and people. But we never had like fully like full Team Ruby
Yeah,
versus just like Cinder and a bunch of Grim, Cinder Neo
yeah,
and a bunch of Grim. We never really had that. We had like them divided and fighting individuals.
yeah. I do feel like the battle between Cinder and Neo and Team Ruby is the most likely to happen first because they're the ones like kind of actively trying to hunt them
You would
down.
say they're the ones that are closest on their trail.
Yes, because of the fact that they know where they're going. They're like kind of. I'm not sure how close they are actually, but they're not in an entirely another place. They're not in the dark realm like Salem and their crew is.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like they're more likely to meet up with them in Argus or like pretty close to Argus and then engage in a battle because, like I kind of said, highlighted before, we don't know where Salem and their crew is going yet, where they decided to go. For all we can know, they could go to Vacuo, right?
Vacuo.
Yeah,
Vacuo.
Vacuo. Sorry. Um, yeah, that's just my thoughts. Should
Yeah.
we wrap this up, or do you have anything
I'm
else?
thinking we should wrap this up. I can't think of anything else
Yeah.
that will just that they are very good episodes. Good basically mid season finale.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
That's
felt,
really it.
yeah, I felt like it was better. I mean, even though I don't like how the recording got deleted and how it's gone, I felt like it was a bit more. It was a lot better to do it in sort of this style because of how well the episodes went together as a
Hmm.
mid-season finale. And I felt like it only strengthened our analysis to have both episodes be talked about at once.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have a feeling the next episode of Ruby is going to be about like 14 minutes long. Like then because this was like 20 minutes, it's going to just be 14 minutes.
yeah,
And then until we get to the finale, but it's going to be only like half an hour, 20 minutes.
yeah.
I'm
Uh,
feeling we're going to get maybe one or two more filler episodes next.
mhm.
But yeah, these were definitely not filler episodes. The plot progressed for that, but it was not definitely not filler.
Yeah,
I felt like.
definitely not at all. It was something that I think most people would be satisfied by.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this has been the fourth episode of our Knowledge of Movie podcasts. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We also have a Twitter, which I will link in description. No, which I'll link
That's
in,
great. We're
which I
linking
will.
in the description to
Yeah.
follow us.
Can you tell the Twitter name? Cause you're the one who created
It
it.
is at it is Twitter. It's at Relic Knowledge.
All right. Yeah. And we will see you guys next episode.